Finally back from Vegas, and I'm really looking forward to just getting back into the swing of the real world. Though I woke up at 5:45, I think, this morning, so there's still some sorting to be done. I'll look back on a trip with disappointing results. Obviously, for me, that's never really the important thing, but the important thing is still disappointing. And that's how I played. I had a run of tournaments, like almost each time I could say I played okay, did nothing awful, did some decent stuff, but each time, like 3, 4 or 5 things, I look back and thought, I should have got that, I should have done it differently, I should have got away from that hand, I should have made this bluff, should have made this valley bet or whatever, and like that will be my passion, and actually a run of disappointing results helps that, just to keep on working on the game. Like maybe it's impossible, especially for me, to play a game and not make any of those mistakes, but just see if I can make fewer. So yeah, once again I got back from the tournament just in time to catch the update to the end of it. That's something I usually manage, having boom busted on day 1, maybe first few minutes of day 2 if I get really lucky. To do this I had to spend 2 or 3 other days in Vegas, but got back to here, who was in the November 9. So yeah, I had 2 or 3 days of just having fun with friends, going out and stuff, and that was really nice actually, especially kind of like after a trip that was quite exhausting really. Yeah, and then November 9 brought tons of good news. Like firstly that Phil Ivey is there. I think it's such a good thing for poker that the, well, disputed but probable best player in the world makes the November 9. It's also a massive testament to the structure, which was just unbelievable this year. But more to the point that James Aikenhead is there, like it's so deserved, and such a good thing to have like a Brit and a young Brit at the final table. So like massive well done to him. Yeah, and the final table lineup this year not only looks more exciting, but kind of like much better than last year's November 9. Actually, for the first time, one of the last days in Vegas, I saw the coverage of last year's main event. Like, it's always slightly ridiculous, but this year I just found it a bit cringeworthy, really. Like, I think a lot of people are the same as me, just find it really important that people in poker kind of like behave themselves well, have some class and everything, and unfortunately the main event is often the time where that really doesn't happen at all. One very understandable excuse is like the tiredness, the pressure on these guys when there's so much money at stake and having played for 6 or 7 days. But still, some of the behaviour, like from that I was watching in last year's main event, was just embarrassing, really. Not least that girl Tiffany Michelle, who just made a complete fool of herself. But yeah, there are tons of examples. The one I remember is this little American guy who just knocked out that Russian guy Lozev, and as he left the table, obviously got to shout at him, "Who's the bully now?" I mean, like, it's just unbelievable the kind of things that some people do. It's just a real shame when poker kind of turns people into idiots like that. Most people it doesn't, obviously, but sometimes it does, and it's always the guys that seem to take offence at someone nicking blinds or pushing the table around, which just seems to me the most ridiculous thing ever. So yeah, it's good news that this year's November 9 will probably provide a lot more class than that anyway. So I'll get quiet like live poker wise for like a month now, I think, and probably first event I play will be EPT Moscow or something like that. But I'll be updating on what's going on the next few weeks. I'm actually going to start doing some strategy stuff by video, and the idea I've had is to do a whole series of what I'm going to call the most common misconceptions in poker. Or the most common mistakes. It's not going to be stuff like opening gaze, 10 under the gun, boys, stuff like that. Like, but maybe like the most common misconceptions. So the first one of those will become